Goaltender did that since Jimmy Rutherford in 1979. Miles Killebrew, Deshaun Hand, Tracy Walker, just three that are out for the Lions tomorrow as they visit Chicago. The Bears are a 3-point favorite in that one. Lions have also released running back Trey Carson from injured reserve. No Michigan football today. They have a bye. MSU is home to the Illini. Spartans a 2-touchdown favorite. Battle the unbeatens. Minnesota against Penn State at noon, and Alabama against LSU, 1-2. That'll be at 3:30. At the Ticket Update desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 97.1theticket.com.
The following is a paid program. The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Entercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
Alrighty, good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, Harry Glantz.
What's up, everybody? How you doing, Harvey?
Hey, Harry, what's going on? I like your style, man. You got it really going on today. Look at this guy. Oh, hey, there's Becky Alley from our office.
Just wear suits during the week, you guys?
Morning.
What's happening?
Becky Alley's the top 1% of all loan officers, loan originators in the United States. It's sort of a big place if you want to check it out. You can reach her at Capital Mortgage Funding if I'm busy.
Yeah, if Harvey's busy, you can reach out to me. I'm available.
Hey, Beck, thanks for bringing in special guest back with us. I think for his third appearance here, Bill West from X1 Realty. Hey,
Good
Bill,
morning, everybody.
How's it going?
Hey, welcome.
The voice
Bill
for
is the
radio,
man.
selling a lot of real estate. Bill, I know the new office, X1 Realty, is in downtown Farmington.
Yeah, that's right. We opened up a brokerage in downtown Farmington. We were with Keller Williams for quite a few years. And, we took advantage of an opportunity where we could actually give back to the community. And then we're able to use a little bit of the money that we were kicking into the national franchise to do more marketing for the sellers. So
that's
working
interesting
out well.
enough.
It's working out real well.
I like that angle
his
right away.
office is that very boutique, very nice, very well done. They completely refinished the whole space. And I went to his actually, like the christening, I called it, of his, the grand opening. And the community in Farmington is bar none. I mean, literally they came in, everyone, the mayor was there. I feel like everyone was there to support him.
Right.
And that community, and they have this I think once a month they do these like little programs, or not like the events or something like that they do.
Yeah, usually downtown Farmington, they've got all kinds of events going on. It's a very walkable community down there, too. If anybody finds himself in downtown Farmington, feel free to stop by, have a cup of coffee.
There you
They
go.
have like concerts in the summertime. Like it's like the
It's
Detroit
cool.
style. Yeah, it's very cool.
I mean, we all want to live in these fun, walkable cities. So it's really become the way of the world. And of course, you moved your office down there, which is really great. Definitely could live right down the street. And now you can walk to your office, to a restaurant, to the library. It's fun.
Absolutely. Yep.
248-539-9797. We're going to take your calls all morning long. Of course, we're going to talk mortgages and real estate. November 9, 2019. Yeah, not going to be so warm this weekend. 39 degrees. Winter is definitely stepping into our fall season here. I mean, it should be any snow until after Thanksgiving, but it is coming on Monday. So we want you to hurry up. And we talked about this for the last few shows as people start, Bill, preparing their house for the showings and what the house is going to look like what's going to look like fall and winter is not as pretty as the summertime. So maybe get out there while there's no snow and fix up some things, but more importantly, take those pictures and maybe spruce up the house.
Absolutely. If we have some pictures without snow that we can kind of influx into the listing too, sure, it makes a huge difference. Also, once the snow starts to fly, if the house is on the market, you got to get the driveway and the sidewalks nice and clear. Make sure everybody's got a safe way to get up to the house, too.
So, Bill, there is no doubt about it. It is cold outside. We're going into the second week. Here we are, second week in November. People that have their houses on the market are serious about selling them. People that are walking through them are serious about buying them.
Yeah.
We can't get around that. There is no, listen, Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, we tell it like it is. If you have your house on the market now, you're serious. If you're walking through houses, you're serious. There's no more kicking tires. There's no more putting your house on the market to see what you can get. There's no more walking through houses because you want to see what the neighbor's kitchen looks like, right? I mean, we're talking, this is a serious time. There are serious buyers and sellers out there. What kind of action are you seeing out there right now?
It's pretty good action. We're up on listings a little bit, so there's a little bit more inventory for the buyers to choose from. I've got a couple of newer people that are working with me right now. By the way, I will mention to any agents out there, we do need one more full-time agent. So if anybody's interested, come and see us. We've got a couple of part-time agents that are already, at the cusp of where they're going to be going ahead and quitting their other.
And how do you see home values right now going into the wintertime? Yes, people, I did say that W word. It's winter.
Over the last
what
3
do you got
years.
for purchases or purchase prices and home values.
Over the last 3 years, what we saw a little bit slower inventory coming out during the winter. And the problem with that was the buyers were coming out in droves early spring. So that was part of what was driving our market over the last 3 or 4 years. Okay. What I'm seeing right now with a little bit more inventory, it makes me a little bit nervous just to see if things continue to come out at that certain pace over December, January. So, right now, if you need to sell, yes, absolutely sell. The market is what the market is. So when we're talking about, the spring market and what might happen, we really don't know where that's going to be at. But again, the market is strong right now, and there's a ton of buyers still out there. So
yeah, so for everybody out there, we have about 7 weeks till maybe 8 weeks now, Harvey, till we have our first show of the new year. And we always come out at that time and we give our prediction, our prognostication.
The crystal ball prediction.
of what 2020 is going to look like. And these next 6-7 weeks play an important part of that. In other words, if there's momentum going into the new year, we take a look at it. And what we found now, last year, it was pretty slow going into the first part of the year and the first month of the year. But then around, February 15th to the end of February, it started kicking in. I don't know. We don't have a crystal ball back. I mean, I have one on my desk, but it's just blank all the time. It's been that way for 30 years. But I'm anxious to see what's going on. And if there are a lot of homes on the market now and there's still people out there and they're walking through homes, I can foresee a pretty good winter and moving into 2020.
Yeah. So what they're basically saying right now is with the inventory, it was low for a certain period of time. Well, now it's back up. So it is a fantastic time to buy a house. You have plenty of options to choose from if you are a buyer. You're not going to have to be getting into these multiple offer situations. Ideally, you're not going to have to overextend your financials. You're not going to have to maybe go too much above the asking price. It is perfect if you're looking to be a first-time home buyer or a 10th-time home buyer. It's a good time for you.
All right, a little bit of business here. 248-539-9797. We're going to take your calls all morning long. If you're buying or selling, if you have a situation and you're trying to move your house, it didn't work out for you. If you're trying to buy a house, you don't have your ducks in a row. That's the number one thing we're always pushing on you. And we constantly see that. I had a guy in this week, and he agreed. He said, Harvey, boy, I wish I would have been here 3-4 months earlier.
Yeah.
Had my ducks in a row. I got a feeling he was with another mortgage company. They rejected him. He didn't have his ducks in a row. And I see where they made some mistakes. And again, he's going to fix some things up so he could become a home buyer. We want to hear from you all morning long if that's your situation. Also, call Capital Mortgage Funding. I know Frank Hudaker already gave me a call. Frank's there. We got a whole office full of folks. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. That's 1-800-569-7283. And again, get that strong approval letter. Start putting your plan together, Beck.
Yeah.
I'm still seeing that. I wish we could reach out with anyone out there who's interested in buying a house and bring them in now. I mean, now might be the best time to sit down. If you're a little bit slower during the holiday season, give us a call. We're doing that food drive anyways. We said you could bring in your Gleaners food donations and make an appointment to sit down with us and go over all your details.
Yeah, I think that's a great topic to bring up is, when you're buying a home, what are some major do's and don'ts as far as when you're purchasing a home? And one of them is waiting too long or too much of a last minute to start the pre-approval process. You don't want to be looking at a house before you're actually pre-approved because that's when things start happening. And sometimes your Credit Karma is going to show a higher credit score than what you truly have. So once you sit down with us and we actually look at your overall profile, we might need to tweak some things before you're actually ready to get out there. So the sooner that you come up with your game plan and you meet with us, we can guide you in the timeline and make it happen much faster. I want to make sure that you're not moving too fast or we're not draining your savings. That's another buyer mistake is you're not taking into account that you're going to buy a house that you might need to fix up. You might need new flooring, and you don't have to put that 20% down. I can't stress that enough. We have amazing first-time home buyer programs. If you're a veteran, which Veterans Day is coming up on Monday,
Yes.
I want to focus on that. You can get into a house with literally zero money down. Now you have your closing costs and prepaids and things of that nature, but you don't have to come up with that big chunk. As a service to our country, they are awarding you that 0% down option.
Yeah, that's a great program also. And again, be sure to call us because we have all the 3% downs, the 5% downs, the Mr. programs, down payment assistance programs out there. Hey, Bill, this market's headed in interesting, again, a winter here in Michigan. It's always headed sort of that iffy. It's going to be a little bit slower perhaps because people do tuck in a little bit and say, hey, wait, after the holidays, I'll catch you. What about this? What about, you mentioned that some of your newer agents are really rocking. They've got some listings on the board. Are you finding that the sellers are a little apprehensive because they're afraid about finding that next house that's going to meet their needs?
Yeah, absolutely. And there are some ways that we can get around that too. So if you guys are concerned, you have a house that you like, you're in the house, you enjoy it, You'd like something a little bit different, and you're not finding what you're looking for. So it becomes this nervous thing. You have to sell your house before you buy. You don't qualify to buy until you sell. So it's kind of this catch-22. If you have a good agent, or if you guys are in a position like that, give us a call, because I have some ideas to get around that. First of all, you can do some things like you can make possession negotiable.
Right.
All right. So what that means is, so you put the house on the market while you're out looking for other houses. Someone writes an offer right away. You can ask for a very long period to stay after the closing, which gives you time to go and find your next house.
All right, lots of different techniques. We're going to dive into that a little bit deeper when we come back. Again, if you're curious, give us a call, 248-539-9797. It's 97.1 The Ticket. Keep it here. Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, I've got my whole panel today. I got Alexis Carmona. Good morning, Alexis.
Good morning. How are you?
All right. Fantastic. Anthony John, good to see you, my man. And your team, this is your luxury real estate team.
It is. And good morning, everyone. And I got to do the Anthony John here. You know me. I know you. Where are we at? Where are we, Alexis?
We're in Southfield.
Yeah, well, you guys are everywhere. So I see your ads. I know you guys are doing a little bit of this video podcasting and stuff, and it's all about your brand. I know you always want to get your image and your brand out there, and you make real estate fun. That's what's exciting about real estate still. At the end of the day, people are signing their names on $100,000 to $300,000. They better enjoy the process.
Well, we got to make it fun. And you know what? I'll tell you, it is absolutely amazing being on this show, being with you today, and we're going to talk what we love to talk about, swag and real estate.
Exactly. They sort of go hand in hand. I sort of call you guys like the millionaire listing shows that I see on TV. You guys sort of have that cool vibe going on, which makes it a lot of fun. And, when you're out there with families, there's a lot of uncertainty in whether it be a first-time home buyer or their second time around. They're reaching out. They really need some guidance on this. I think I'm still shocked by families that have bought one or two or three. They could be on their third home, but they're still not, because it's something you don't do every day. You need to have that knowledge, and that knowledge gives you the confidence to move forward. What do you see, like, Alexis, out there just recently working with some younger buyers or first-time home buyers? What do you see, like, what they really need to know, or what's shocking to them?
They really need to know the lending process.
Okay.
A lot of the times they don't know how things work. They think they need 20% down. They don't know their options. Also, they don't really also know where they want to live exactly. They think a lot of, well, I want to be close to work, but I don't know. I like this price range. I like this house, but they don't know pricing. They don't know. They need to know where they want to land eventually.
Right. So a lot of times someone will find a house that fits every need, but the kitchen hasn't been updated,
Right.
Or the bathrooms need complete updating, or the whole house needs updating, but it's a good value. The location's right.
Mm-hmm.
Everything makes sense for them. And if they don't have the numbers behind them, it makes it a little bit more difficult to
Right.
make that next step.
Yes, of course.
I'll interject this too. Get pre-approved, people, because here's what I see in our market.
We didn't rehearse this at all
No.
either, but it's true.
No, but here's what happens. People start looking for a home, which is fine, right? They start on the net, and then they'll hook up with an agent. They'll start looking at homes, but they don't get pre-approved, and then things be.
But knowing your breasts can save it. Go to knowyourgirls.org for the facts you need on breast health. That's knowyourgirls.org. Brought to you by Susan G. Coleman and the Ad Council.
The The Detroit Pistons host the Minnesota Timberwolves. Pre-game Monday night at 6:35 on 97.1 The Ticket.
All righty, welcome back to the show, 9:15. If you're just joining us, a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are always reachable at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289. Definitely get in touch with us. I might even talk about a little bit about those mortgage numbers and those NMLS numbers.
Yeah, that was good. You
I
actually rattle that off now.
I saw some guy, right, just falls out of the mouth.
Yeah.
I saw some guy posing as some expert in mortgages yesterday. I think his mortgage license meant he got his license yesterday. We might talk about experience and what experience could bring to the table. Bill, I might want to dive into that a little bit with you. You know, you've been around a long time. Your staff, you guys are setting up with expectations for families and stuff. Mm-hmm. Isn't there some benefit of dealing with someone who's been around the block a few times?
We got to get to the closing table.
Yeah.
We're at 100% closure rate with Becky. So,
I think that's a good one.
You know, I mean, anything we bring to her, her knowledge, and the fact that you guys have in-house underwriting, which is who actually approves the loan, means that we have a really good idea and a really good picture going into this. So we never have surprises. You know,
so Bill, how do you feel about this? First time in 30 years, been doing this 30 years, right? That's a long time. Good. And like you said, we have underwriting in-house, on-site processing and closing, funding, everything we do in our building, right? So for the first time in 30 years, right? And you say we always get them to the table. Good loans always close. They always do. I had a broker, a well-known broker in the area. I'm in my office. It's 9 o'clock. It's 9:15, and our receptionist, Stephanie, says, Harry, I have somebody a broker in the office that wants to talk to you. I said, okay. Guy shows up. Nice guy. Been around a long time. Just shows up unannounced, wanting to know if we're going to close on a transaction. Now, the only thing I can think of is somebody's not telling somebody something. Okay, because why would the guy show up when I told everybody we're closing it? For a broker to wake up first thing in the morning, get in their car, come to our office unannounced, there was a lot of bad information. Now, of course, it closed, and it closed 2 o'clock that afternoon. So we had our closing manager, Tina Brown, who's been with us for a very long time, come in and say, hey, listen, we didn't get the call from the title company until yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, there's a lot of the times that'll happen.
So for the first time in 30 years, I've got somebody coming in our office unannounced, wondering if a loan is going to close. Couldn't believe it.
Our coffee's not that good.
And of course it closed. Yeah. Gave him coffee, water,
little
whatever.
Maxwell House, the old school stuff.
The point of this to you is you're a broker. The communication that you have with Becky, with our office, we have good communication in our office. And we told people, listen, as soon as we get the call from the title company, we'll put the package together because you have to reconcile information from both sides. There's a buyer side and there's a seller side, right?
That's right.
And when you have a split closing, I'm talking technical here, when you have two title companies involved, they have to reconcile their numbers and get them to us.
Right.
And then we do the final papers and then disperse them, of course, now electronically to everybody. So if you don't get the paperwork till late in the day, one day, can you close that same day? Maybe. But you're probably going to close the next day at the very earliest. So the communication is the key. We say that all the time. The dissemination of accurate versus inaccurate information is the key. Now, what I found out subsequent to this was, guess what? The selling agent told their seller something differently than what was going on and never relayed it to everybody else.
It's all about communication. What do you think about that, Bill?
Oh, absolutely. You know, and that's the other thing. We work as a small team. We work together on the transactions, which is really nice. You know, I have a guy that runs point once a contract is in place, and he keeps that communication going. Mm-hmm. He's talking to both title companies. Usually it's via a group email, but sometimes we have communication outside of it. But no, we have stop gaps. We have exact points that we're checking in on things to make sure that everything's closing. Becky's got a team also. You know, there's times when she is busy and she has someone that I can call and I can get an update on my file right away too. So, no, I agree with you. Communication is absolutely key. Especially trying to get the closing to the closing table on time. Yep.
Speed of response is very important, and we're big at Capital Mortgage Funding. We want to make sure that we are telling you what's going on with the file, so that way you don't have to ask us what's going on with the file. when you're purchasing a home, sometimes it is a little bit of a hurry up and wait process. You're like, hurry up, let's find a house, let's get the offer in, we got to order the appraisal. But then there's this little bit of a processing point where you're not hearing, you might not hear those day to day, every day. You feel like everything goes black. But every other day, communication is fine because we're putting the pieces together. We are, ordering your verifications of employment. There's a lot of behind the scenes items that are going on that we take care of. And so when you're dealing with us, and like I'm dealing with Bill, it's very important that his point of contact, I'm constantly in communication with them so that way they know what's going on. And what Harry was saying is that there's a lot of hands in the same jar, okay? And one person falls off that radar, it creates an issue sometimes, and it creates a false sense of panic that is not needed.
Yeah, I had a little issue too. 3 weeks to get a homeowner's insurance policy, and we're trying to get the file into underwriting. So little crazy. I like that speed to response in our industry is the most important thing.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that offer goes in. Yeah, the seller, they need to respond usually. It could be highest and best. The family needs to set up their home inspection team. They need to get on the ball real quickly with homeowners insurance. Get a lot of pieces of the puzzle, what we use so often here, have to come together generally in 2.5-3 weeks if you're going to do a 30-day closing or less.
Yeah, everybody has to remember we're all on the same team. We have one single motivation, and that's taking care of the client, right? So if everybody goes in knowing that we're on the same team and we're going to get it to the finish line, but you have to let us do it. Now, we need some involvement. We need some involvement from the borrower. We need some involvement from the realtors. We need involvement from the title company. And then we have our own internal team, like you said. We have teams within teams to make sure, and we have a buddy system. So we try, not perfect, everybody out there, I'm telling you, we're not perfect. Sometimes things get a little bit, lost, a little bit slipping through the cracks, but we always have a buddy system where somebody's going to pick it up and run with it.
There you go.
So we make sure that, hey, look, we're going to get to the finish line, but sometimes things aren't always as they seem. Somebody doesn't give us a document. Somebody tells us something that's a little bit different than as portrayed. But we have to find all that out, and we do the verification and re-verification.
And that's where that experience that you were talking about comes into play. When you're dealing with Bill West and his team, they set the proper expectations. They set the table for you in the beginning. Then they were talking to me, and I'm going to set the table so you know what the steps are, what's going on. You're talking to Harvey. He's going to let you know this is the process. This is where we're at. And when you come into every situation's different, everyone's mortgage different, Harvey's different than me, and his mortgage situation's going to be different than mine. But we set the proper expectations, and the experience level that we possess as a company as a whole is what's going to allow us to have that 100% closure rate for some of our great realtor partners, right? We want to make sure that we're identifying these problems ahead of time. We're notifying them of what these issues are. So that way no one's looking at us like, what's going on, Becky? I didn't know about this. Why didn't you tell me? I'm looking at it and I'm seeing it ahead of schedule as far as I possibly can.
Right.
Within the control that I have.
And I've got a great page in the listing presentation that we have too, where it talks about the difference between working with a single agent or a single loan officer and working with a team. Because it can be a little bit scary out there to, who's my point of contact now? And they always know. First of all, the point of contact is always going to be Becky or I. But, it's a team that works well together. As an example, I got a call yesterday from a buyer that I hadn't talked to asking me about wiring instructions. I knew exactly what was going on with her file. Never talked to the lady before, but I knew exactly what was going on, was able to answer her questions. That's the kind of team that you really want to have on your side. Someone that's clicking well, someone that knows what's going on with the files. That way, that puts the seller or the buyer at the center of the transaction versus putting the agent at the center of the transaction where he's, running here and running there, trying to figure out what's going on with title, what's going on with mortgage. Having the right people in the right place makes a huge difference for the buyer.
Yeah, we always talk about, hey, you're spending a lot of money, you're about to sign your name on, like, whether it be a couple $100,000, you better enjoy the experience.
That's
too.
right.
Try to make it the best possible experience. But again, if you're ducks out in a row and you're making offers and calling it the last minute and you haven't even filed your tax returns, well, yeah, you're the beginnings of some problems, and we can correct those by getting in front of the process a couple months ahead of time.
On the surface, it should look simple to the consumer. It should look simple. Yeah. So I want them to say, "Oh my God, that was very easy." Yeah, absolutely.
I like that.
It's not. It's complicated. There's a lot of people involved, different, like we've been talking about, 2 title companies, mortgage companies, seller, buyer, 2 agents. A lot of people, a lot of personalities involved in a real estate transaction.
Attorneys, accountants, things going on. You get a lot of calls on things that are pretty mundane to the transaction, but we take them all, we'll answer them all, we'll help it all, but there's only certain things that we can divulge in the transaction. We cannot breach any client confidentiality. We don't talk about financials. We don't talk about credit, any derogatory information on a credit report. We certainly do not talk about, income. We're not going to divulge people's income. We just don't do that. That's not how we operate. So the information that we're going to give you is, look, at the transaction's going well. We've got almost everything we need. We're waiting on a couple more documents, and we'll make sure that it gets to the finish line. So that's what we do. We close loans. I mean, you can't listen. We close loans. That's all there is to it. Hands down.
They come to us to close.
248-539-9797. Give us a call this morning. I know we got Michigan State football coming up here. If you're on your way to tailgate, just bring an extra layer. It's going to be dry, though, I think, today. So good luck out there. Michigan's got the weekend off.
I'm kind of looking forward to
some
the
Lions
snow.
football tomorrow. You are. You can go ahead. Hey, Beck, no one wants to talk about it. I'll be the bad guy out there. On behalf of all the loan officers out there, are too afraid to tell their clients what's going on.
Yeah.
Lock in your loan. Mortgage rates are holding now at a 3-month high. Yes, they're higher now and last week and maybe coming up this week than they were just 45 days ago,
You're
just
not
even 4
getting
weeks
the
ago.
Rate that somebody quoted you on October 15th and they didn't lock it in. You're
I
not
mean,
getting
even
it.
just from Monday.
You're
if
not
someone
getting it.
quoted you a rate on Friday, what the
Not
rate
getting
was
it.
this past Friday, so Friday to Friday, it was night and day. What's going on overseas is affecting us in our own backyard right now as far as interest rates. We had a little bit of a lag where they dropped tremendously, and we took advantage of it. But right now is the time to lock in your rate and don't let it go any further because we don't know what's going to happen and it could go up.
When you have a rate, I got to say this before the break, when you have a rate that's in the 4s, what are you worried about? Just lock in the loan. They're not going down to 0.
All right, save money. Do take our advice. Lock it in. 248-539-9797. When we come back, all of your calls.
Are you out of country right now? Because everybody's calling my business line.
Does he have it on the MLS, Chris?
Yeah. It's just
it wasn't MLS, but they said since it was commercial, they couldn't list it on both, so I had to go on the commercial side of it. So he said LoopNet. So that's where it got posted. And
well, you have
like I said,
residential as well, so you have an opportunity there.
Like a mixed-use property.
Correct.
I see him up
We have
on all
one
the
in Troy
different
like
sites.
that right now. He's got a photography company.
Correct.
And the long end of it short, he lives in the property as well. So it could be commercial or residential. So we've been playing around with the marketing it as residential and commercial, and we're getting a lot of hits on it.
It only takes one buyer, we always say in our industry. Chris, we got some great agents here. They're going to follow up with you and call after the show. Again, they got to be careful what they say if you're currently listed, but they'll walk the fine line with you, and then you could have your conversation with your current agent and go from there.
All right, fantastic. I appreciate your help, guys.
Great. Thanks for the
Chris.
call. It's just it's an easy soft call to start us off, but really what he's saying is, hey, look, I've got my house on the market for 7 months here. I'm not getting any action on it. That's a bad thing. That's a long time.
I think a lot of the times what happens is sellers don't know exactly what's happening with their listing. We view listings as a product. You know, we have to market it. We have to sell it. And a lot of the times agents don't really know what to do with the listing either. Maybe it's their first one or they don't do it very often, but they get a listing, they put a sign in the yard, you know, they hope it sells. They hope they get a phone call.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's old school.
And it automatically goes, if it's in the MLS, it automatically goes onto shopping sites. You know, it just simply goes, it's like a live feed from the MLS to things like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. But there's things you could do outside of that or with those shopping sites. As a realtor, you could be a consumer from those sites and really help your clients market your product, your property, their investment.
Here's a tip. Before you hire that listing agent, Google them.
Yes.
Check them out.
I'll tell you this, though. There's a lot of great realtors in the Tri-County area. There
Oh,
really
yeah.
is. There's so many.
We're sharp in the Midwest. I think it's just a whole thing in the Midwest. Whenever I go other places in the country, I'm like, man, I can make a lot of money out here. I don't know. Do we talk faster? Are we smarter? Are we able to keep up? Are we more knowledgeable? Maybe we are. Maybe all these things are true.
No, we just
Probably.
I think being in the Metro
I'll take
Detroit,
it.
I think in the Metro Detroit area, we just have a lot more swagger. You know, you've got some really kick-ass agents out here.
I like that. Detroit hustles harder. It's always my
Detroit
favorite
hustles
shirt.
always harder.
I love that one. Hey, Freddie Mac works some numbers. Home price is expected to rise 3.3% this year, maybe 2.8% the following year. That's a good sign to get back into the housing market if you had some trouble in the past. And again, a lot of the families out there listening, they did have that bump in the road. 2007 and 2011, some real hard times. But we know all the families, Anthony and Alexis, that made all these the bad times work in a positive way. We know people that started buying up rental properties.
Right.
We knew young couples, it was just happened to be great timing in their life.
Yeah.
They were 30 years old starting their family in 2012 and were able to buy that great house in that city, whether it be Royal Oak or Ann Arbor, where it just took off.
Yeah.
And now they're sitting in all that appreciation. They got equity. There's a lot of things they can do moving forward, but sometimes it is all about timing. The best mortgage banker. Give us a call. Get refinance. That's right. Rates are still down. We talk about them bumping up. Get it done. Cash out refinance specs, getting people consolidated, always a great way to fly. Dropping the loan term, we really like that. Yeah, pulling the money out, not necessarily getting a home equity loan. That interest rate could bump up on you. Most HELOCs, home equity lines of credit, are adjustable rate mortgages. Don't like that idea that if you're getting that, especially if we can sort of take a look at your current mortgage and that opportunity still just to have one mortgage. I like having one payment versus two.
Yeah.
Keep you out of trouble.
Refinances are really strong right now. The market, even though there was a little bit of a rate influx, they're huge. I mean, rates are still at 30, 40-year lows. Even with this little bit of a tick that we've seen, it still makes sense. So you need to call us if you have PMI. Even if you bought a house last year and you have PMI, it still makes sense for us to look at possibly reducing that rate, save you that money, because the rates right now are still lower than when they were a year ago.
Why not jump in and maybe take a look at home ownership for your family's gifts this year for the holiday season? Bill West, of course, is joining us all morning long. X1 Realty in downtown Farmington. Bill, what's the number of the office there? Where do people catch you there?
Sure, I'll give you the number that'll direct directly into me and to my assistant. It's 248-270-2702. That's 248-270-2702. So if you guys have any questions, like we talked earlier about occupancy or trying to find that house of choice, we have really fine-tuned, honed.
That's fine.
Our listings. So if anybody out there's having a problem selling and their listings coming up expiring, or if you guys are thinking about putting your house on the market, I'd really like to show you guys what we do differently.
Yeah, I mean, Bill, there's no doubt. You get a professional like you, and now you start looking around the house, and there's things that you can point out as a qualified, experienced real estate agent. There's a difference there. Your expertise, you come in, and all of a sudden, you're telling them to fix small little items that keep your dollars. You're going to net more for the house. Also, you're going to avoid any issues after they do the home inspection on the property because you address these things ahead of time. And a lot of times, again, just really presenting the house in a little bit better way ends up saving you a couple $1,000s.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of homeowners, too, they'll be looking at maybe a major project, like maybe I want to finish my entire basement before we get it on the market. And sometimes putting some of this money in, you just don't get your money back out of it. It's about pricing the home right, and it's about paying attention to some things like, think about it. That front shot of the house is what people are going to be seeing online and everywhere else. So it's making sure that front shot looks really well, and that same presentation is there when the buyer gets there too. And maybe painting the front door, maybe replacing like that front light, maybe replacing the mailbox. It's just small things like that makes all the difference. And I think that's where the experience comes in, because you just don't think about it. But as an example, that buyer is stuck on that front porch with the buyer's agent while they're dealing with that lockbox. Yeah. What are they doing? They're looking around that area very finely, just because they're stuck there, so making sure the caulk is good, making sure the paint is good right there at that front door, that's key.
Yeah, I love me a good front door. It's like the eyes of the house. It's very warm, it's welcoming, and I agree with what you're saying. I mean, a $50,000 basement renovation just to put it on the market. I mean, you could just make the look light and airy in the basement, just some white paint, but then that way you're allowing the buyer to open and have this open space to visualize how they want to do it. They're going to make it to their taste instead of putting some crazy ass stuff that they don't think they're going to like.
We just always think, too, that rents have gone up so dramatically here because of the housing debacle disaster, 2007, call it to 2011 or so. All these inexpensive, affordable homes, the beginning, the first-time home buyers, they're getting booted out of the marketplace because those homes were all eaten up by all the investors. Now they're renting them back to you at $200 to $400 more than your mortgage payment would be. Home ownership's really key. Again, don't be afraid of it. Sort of jump in, get the right people on your team. Housing affordability, the best levels in 3 years. 63.6% of new and existing homes sold in the third quarter were affordable to households here in the U.S. Median income of about $75,500. So housing still really affordable. Again, $75,000. It's a big number still, but two people just working jobs at it could be local fast food restaurants, working just basically regular jobs, simple 9 to 5 type of jobs. You might make $30,000 to $35,000. You and your wife, that's $70,000. You can buy the majority of homes that look at the majority of homes in Southeast Michigan.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, the price. And again, if your landlord keeps sending you a letter saying, hey, I just wanted to get with you guys, it's not usually good news. The next call is, hey, your lease is expiring next month. I'm going to need another $100 or so to get moving forward. Beck, we talk about affordability. The MSHDA program, still outstanding, $7,500 the state of Michigan will give you. You do have to qualify for the loan. You have to fit the box, their little box.
Yep.
But that's a great program. But boy, 3% down. You can still get 3% seller's concessions on conventional mortgages, FHA loans. We mentioned the VA loans for our veterans on Veterans Day coming up. Yep. Want to reach out to all of them. And obviously, Capital Mortgage, Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, we salute you. We thank you for your service. Now let us see if we can hook you up with a great mortgage and put a roof over your family's head. That's always cool
everybody
stuff.
Says, Harvey, everybody says that, listen, I can afford the payment, the monthly payment. I just don't have the down payment. Yeah, well, I don't believe, Becky, that they've searched high and wide and far and long, because we have low down payment programs for people that have great credit. We have MSHDA programs for people that have good credit and can have a minimal down. But remember, the key thing is that there are 3 things that you really need. You need a good credit history, you need an income, and you need a history of that income. Mm-hmm. So we have to show all of that. And so if people think that they can make the monthly payment, but they don't have a lot of money down, there's also gift funds. There's also other ways that you can get the down payment, which we would love to go over with you. So if you think you're in a situation that you can afford that monthly payment on a house that you're paying way too much in rent, like Harvey said, you got to give us a call, because there are a lot of first-time home buyer programs that are low down payment. Now, I can hear the people saying, well, isn't that what got us in trouble the last time? Well, no, what got us in trouble the last time were liar loans. All right, liar loans were no doc, no income, no this, no that. I mean, stop with that already. Stop with that.
Yeah, that's definitely what jammed us all up. And again, that along with a bad economy in 2007 or 8.
And the mortgage programs that people got put into by questionable lenders who are no longer with us, that we can't underscore that enough. So it's not the same mortgage market that it was 10 years ago. It's different. There are still plenty of programs out there that people that have minimum down payments that can afford to make the payment and that have good credit.
Yeah, so if you are a new buyer and you're thinking about entering into the home buying market, you're paying someone else's rent, you're living at home with your parents, it's never too soon to talk to a mortgage professional to set the table, set the proper expectations. If you think that your credit's not where it needs to be, or you don't have enough money, let's talk about it. We're going to set you up with a great real estate agent if you don't already have one, and we're going to talk about what exactly you're going to need for your down payment, which is your down payment, your closing costs, all that stuff. So if you need $10,000 and you have $5,000 in the bank, well, let's talk about how we can bridge that gap as far as concessions. Possibly you have a donor that could give you money. You have the MSHDA down payment program. So it's not a matter of, I don't have enough money and we want to buy a house on sunshine and rainbows. We're going to help you find those sunshine and rainbows to get you into that house that's going to be real and tangible.
A little scary, but definitely very rewarding. Home ownership's a great way to fly. Home ownership rates are back up to all-time highs now. And again, there's a reason why. Not only the psychology of home ownership, building strong communities, meeting neighbors, all that great stuff about families. This is sort of why we're on the planet to begin with. That's what's cool about home ownership. 248-539-9797. Bill, I got some funny stuff here. Would you believe it that there's a survey that came out from rental platform Big Rents? They rent out big rental equipment and stuff. And they said 1/3 of Americans out there really can't do a lick. We could barely screw in a light bulb. They can't do one single basic home maintenance task without consulting the web.
I was
raising my hand here. Going, me too.
I was thinking about that today as the light in my kitchen, above my kitchen table, I've got these two nasty lamps that my wife likes. Okay. Intentionally for 5 years, I haven't replaced it. It just can't happen. It never turns it on. So,
Randy,
I might have to do
like
that
your
today.
Lamps.
And she knows. Trust me.
Unclogging a drain, patching a hole in the wall. Yeah, these are some basic things. 1/3 of us can't do it. But definitely you can hire professionals to do some of the smaller things. A lot of these projects, I have to say, speaking for myself, is I don't dive into a lot of projects because I'm afraid I'm going to do it wrong. Yeah. And, sometimes the guys that really do it, the women that go after these projects, they're go-getters. And they're okay if they make a mistake. They figure it out. If you're replacing let's say even a toilet in the house, house or a sink, get some caulk. You can turn off the main water valve. There's things that you could do to protect yourself. And again, if worse comes to worse, you check it out, I guess, on the web. That's probably the only thing that I think is great about the internet is it's got tons of information about that kind of stuff.
I'm not gonna lie. Mikkel and I, we struggle bust. We're like the YouTubers trying to figure out how to like properly hang it. And we're like, next thing you know, we have like a floating picture that we have to like bring down and level. I have a couple of friends that can whittle wood like it's no one's business. So,
they still do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they made us a kitchen table and it looks fantastic, right? And, right now we're in the middle of getting the basement done and we have a fantastic contractor. His name's Eddie from L Custom Remodeling. And it's nice and refreshing when you're dealing with him because he also has that design. Sometimes when you're dealing with contractors, like, oh, whatever you want. And just, okay, whatever. They don't have the vision. He likes to get involved and say, I don't like it. We're not going to do that. What do you think about this, Eddie? Nope, I don't like it. Because and what he says is how that looks is a reflection of his work. He's wants you to pick a great paint color. He's not going to let me pick some weird purple color.
Chartreuse is no good. What?
Yeah, he's very particular. So, contractors is very important. If you don't know how to whittle the wood yourself, find someone that does. I can hook you up with this guy. He's really, really good.
Yeah. Overall maintenance isn't that much on a house. I mean, it could be nasty if you didn't inspect the house properly. It could get very costly if you don't know what you're doing, if you bought a money pit, if no one checked out the roof, if you didn't do things like that. Yeah, you could get yourself into trouble by not having the experts point you out, point you in the right direction.
Absolutely.
All right, a little bit of music there says we're up against a quick break. When we come back, we want to hear from you. 248-539-9797. Keep it here on The Ticket. All righty, we're back here. Can you hear me? All righty. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. You're listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Little Guns N' Roses, if we're just waking up here. It's not going to be such a great day, but, every day is great. Make it the best. Up to about 44 degrees today, a little bit of light rain. They say some snow, but the sun is promised to come out tomorrow. We are definitely in fall of 2019 here. So as we were mentioning, definitely want to maybe take those pictures sooner than later too.
Oh, yeah.
Because the house just doesn't look so good when there's snow everywhere on it.
It's kind of dreary.
Yeah, it does get a little dreary for those 2 or 3 months. But again, that dreary looking house could be an opportunity for you. Hey, let's roll out here. They got a question on a loan out. Todd out in Belleville. Good morning, Todd. Welcome to the show. You're on 97.1 The Ticket.
Yeah, how you doing today?
Good. What's going on?
Oh, not much. I just tried to do a home equity loan, but I just went through a debt consolidation and found out there was like 4 different things on my credit that weren't taken off yet that I actually had to get back with Equifax, and I got 30 days before that goes through. But I was wondering if I should go through my bank for a home equity loan or try to refinance the house itself.
Well, how much money?
I wouldn't want to pay.
Go ahead. What's your goal?
Really pay more. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what's your goal here is to get a long-term loan, or tell me how much money you're trying to put your hands on.
Well, they were going to give me up to $90,000 home equity that I was applying for.
And what's your current interest rate on your house now?
4.375. But the other ones that I was looking at before were like 4.7, and I didn't want to jump up with the interest rate. But the interest rate for the home equity loan, I think, was like 6 something, but I might going through that bank, and I banked there also. They were going to give me another point off or something like that.
Yeah, I would have to sit down with you, Todd, and break down the numbers. Again, the key here is to find out
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Now available for download. Always Aggravated. A Mike Valenti signature podcast. Get it on radio.com and Apple iTunes.
97.1 The Ticket.
All righty, welcome back to the show, 9:45. If you're just joining us, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. That's where you can find us all week long. Definitely want to see you guys give us some phone calls here and find out how we can help you. Bill, there's definitely some things that sellers do right and wrong, and they got to hear it from a third person. You need a third party in there to tell you what's going on. We were talking about just even the wall colors, and I sort of asked you guys, I threw it out there. I said, well, when wasn't gray in style? But now we have some other colors that are hitting, and like you mentioned, you said, well, who are you painting it for? Are you painting it for the seller? Are you painting it for the buyer? Tell me a little bit more about when you go and you see a house, like things that instantly like sort of are things that come to your mind and say, hey, this has to be changed.
Well, you know what it is it's always about making sure that the house is appealing to the largest percentage of buyers. So, if I'm painting my house, my wife likes greens. She likes blues, even likes some red. And that's okay, accent wall, things like that. But if you know that you're painting to sell the house, then it becomes, okay, what is the most appealing to many of the buyers? And yeah, you're right. It's grays, it's blues, some accent walls going on. And I think it's a good idea to get someone that's doing a decent amount of volume to come in and talk to you about it. And speaking of listings, Harvey, we're running a promotion through the end of the year. So there is a discount if you are buying local in the area. There's also a discount. There's another discount program about referrals. So if someone's thinking about selling, even if they're not thinking about selling until the spring, as long as the listing contract is signed by the 31st of this year, we'll still honor that discount too. So if anybody's thinking about selling, I'd be glad to come out and talk to you a little bit more about that front door, the paint colors, and really what we do differently to market homes.
Yeah, sometimes it might even be a little bit more extensive. It could be, hey, you got to rip out that nasty carpet. It could be stinking up the house. It could look nasty. It's a bad color. It's worn out. It tends to say things to maybe a potential buyer that maybe this house isn't as well kept. If you rip it out and you throw in some nice hardwood floors or something, boy, oh boy, it seems like every house that I see, when I click on some pictures of it, it seems like everyone switched over to hardwood.
Yeah, carpet, paint, hardwood, those are the big things that are going to be less expensive to do that we're going to get money out of.
Yeah, but you have to look past the cosmetic. The people have different taste levels. And yes, when you walk into a house and if it has a green or red or blue wall on it and you don't like it,
Grandma's peach color.
Yeah, so guess what? Get that can of white paint out when you buy the house and fix it. But people are going to live their lives and they have their own lifestyle, their own taste level. And when you buy a house, right, you're going to have your own taste level and your lifestyle for that house. When you go to sell that house, that doesn't mean everybody's going to like it. But when you go into a house, if it has that, cool green shag carpeting now, and you don't like it, so you know what you have to do? Replace it. That's all on you. But if a house has, here's a term in real estate, if it has good bones and everything's just cosmetic, look past it. Get that can of paint out.
Sometimes, though, it's hard to visualize.
Oh, yeah. And that's easy to say, to look past those simple things. But you'd be surprised how much more traction we get with a house with carpet and paint. And you'd be surprised
I'm not
also.
saying no. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
many sellers think exactly like you.
Right.
Many sellers think exactly like you. What does it matter? We've got good bones. We've got a brand new furnace. We've got a brand new roof. And a lot of older people, I find their homes are like that. They've got new furnaces. They got great bones. But you walk in and everything's dated. And the buyer, will then buy a house that was just flipped by an investor where they've done the kitchen and bath, but you still got a 30-year-old roof and the ancient furnace. And so I hear what you're saying. And as a seller, you think that way. You think, you know what? They can paint it.
Yes.
It's not a problem.
Very good point.
But the difference in presentation to the buyer is huge. Absolutely.
But as a buyer, I'm looking for that because then aren't I going to use that as a negotiation tool?
The good bone?
No, the good bones, but I don't like the color and I don't like this, so I go in.
Yeah, they're going to negotiate a lot lower than it would have cost to do the carpet and the paint.
Agreed. Yeah. Right? Aren't they going to do that? They're going to come and go, I don't like this, I don't like that. Here's the deal. I'll buy the house.
If you even get the offer, because the other thing is they're walking in. And unfortunately, like you mentioned, it's having that vision. Some people do, but I've found that the main majority of people They don't see past that. And it has to do with how they feel that the quality of the property is for the rest of the property. It's like when they walk in and everything's tight and the paint is in good shape and it's, appropriate colors and the carpet's new, they feel that the seller has cared for the home. So it's the presentation, And I tell sellers that all the time. They're like, well, if they don't like the green wall, they can repaint it white. And I say, I really want you to think about painting that wall before we get it on the market. One more recommendation. If there's any exclusions that you guys have, you guys want to pull a chandelier out for, his grandma's chandelier.
Okay.
I highly recommend that you replace that before going on the market. That way the buyer doesn't feel like they're missing anything. So instead of having the exclusion in the listing ticket, you just put up a regular lamp or something and they just don't even know about it.
There you go. Take it down. Take down those valuable things that people get hung up on, and all of a sudden they want your heirloom that your family's kept in the family. They're like, I got to have it, or there's no deal here.
Exactly.
Lower mortgage rates offset some of the high costs in the building world out there, the current homes. Chronic labor shortages, there's no doubt about that. The builders are having trouble finding. Hey, Becky, you found a great contractor. Yeah. But getting some of these projects done sometimes and finding the great workers out there, that's could be a little bit of a hassle too. Yes. And then also the other point of is, you don't see the builders building $200,000 houses anymore. The builders go after the higher ticket value. So those first-time home buyers, it could be a struggle out there to find the house that's going to really meet your needs. How's that inventory for first-time home buyers out there? Let's just say 120 to 200. Are you finding a good amount of inventory out there? There are homes out there that are on the market.
Not in that price range. No, it's low. Yeah, there's a low amount of inventory there too. So it just is what it is. We've got to be diligent. We got to be out there, looking.
I hate to say it, but that group of people, you're up against all the investors in the world too.
Yes, because they're coming and they're snatching it all up. And I feel like the first-time homebuyers, their price points, I've been doing this 15 years now. The first-time homebuyer price point has gone up a little bit. You have it used to be like 120, 150. Now they're coming out of the gate a little bit more closer to that 200, 250 range. But you said like anyone that's in that 120 to 200 range, you're absolutely right. Like you're dealing with these investors that are going up and just grabbing it all, flipping it, and then they're turning around and they're selling it at that higher price point.
And if you're having a tough time finding a property and you're looking in that price range, sometimes it makes sense to look at some different areas. So, everybody would love to live in downtown Farmington for $120,000. It's just going to be hard to do. So, buying a house in an area where you can find a decent selection of properties in your price range, this is going to be a great stepping stone. Like you mentioned, you don't have to worry about your rent going up anymore. Secondarily, with my age right now, a lot of the people that I'm dealing with are move-up buyers. So they're basically selling their starter home and they're buying their next home. In that instance, you're able to utilize all that equity that you built up. So, a starter home might not have the brand new kitchen. A starter home might not have the brand new, bathroom. And the starter home might not be exactly in the area that you want to be in, but don't not buy. Because you're going to be able to utilize that as a stepping stone.
Location's the key. They always say the three location. It's always one of the keys. But you say a neighboring city might even have the same school district that you're trying to sneak into. Yep. All of a sudden, they drop the price. The neighboring city might even have less taxes than that first city you're looking at. Sort of have that vision. I'm telling you, folks, it's all about the experience that you're working with, the team you're working with. I was talking to a first-time home buyer the other day, and she was like a $79,000, $89,000 house, and I was checking it out. Boy, she wouldn't be able to sell that house in the future. She really could be trapped in it. Spending $20,000, $30,000 more, it might not sound like the right play, but there's no doubt. She went from a one-bedroom house, now she's looking at, let's say, a 2 or 3 bedroom house. Right. That really has something that if it doesn't work out 3 or 4 years from now, unmarried person, single person, might need to sell 3 or 4 years. Maybe with a longer vision, you might want to keep it. But a shorter vision, spending more money, you might be able to sell it and get a little bit more money for it.
Yeah, so if you're buying in that house that initially you want to start as the 5-year house and it turns into the 12-year house, because like Harvey's saying is that, you have the 1 bedroom, obviously you're looking to a very specific market if you're buying a 1-bedroom house or 1-bedroom house right now. Like typically you lease 2, 3, so that way you have better resale value. So sometimes we can look and see, like maybe if you go from 80 to we can maybe make it work for 100,000, it's going to open up that spectrum, like Bill was saying, and allow you to look at different markets and remind you why you're looking to buy and why you're looking to sell in the first place. Is it the school district? Is it, can we get you in the Farmington schools and an outside neighboring city? Those are things that working with an experienced agent like Bill, he can bring those to light, things that you don't even think of because you don't do this for a living, right? We're here to help you and paint that picture that makes you feel like you're not trapped and you're stuck in one little cookie cutter thing.
In fact, the numbers are in the National Association of Realtors reports that only 10% of the new build homes are under $200,000, where 10 years ago it was 40%. So, right, home values have gone up. So, shouldn't you buy and maybe consider some appreciation? There's no guarantee that what you buy is going to appreciate. But again, you're buying it to have a roof over your house, over your head anyways.
Yeah.
And more importantly, take advantage of the home ownership benefits. And there are some tax benefits. And we always tell you to consult your CPA if you're currently renting and maybe even consider sitting down with them before they get real busy and going over all those details.
Yeah, tax season's coming up.
All right, a lot of things are coming up as the holidays are coming up.
Claus is coming to town.
Bill West, you're awesome, man. X1 Realty, downtown Farmington. Always great to have you, Bill. You got a lot of knowledge. You got a great team. And I know you guys are really jamming and really helping a lot of people.
Thank you,
That's
Bill.
right. You guys
We
can reach us at
appreciate you coming in.
248-270-2702 if you guys have any questions.
Right,
Thanks.
always call Capital Mortgage Funding. Find Becky Alley and her great staff there. Hopefully you can give me a call too. But we'll set you up with all these great real estate agents. We got Pat Caputo coming up with sports. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We will see you next Saturday.